What's up YouTube, Yu-Gi-Oh! Galaxy, and this video, contrary to what it looks like now, is going to be a video on rogue decks. Now, this video is going to be why aren't rogue decks really topping, and why don't they top consistently, other than last format, because last format was just weird. The reason rogue decks can't top is because of a couple of reasons. One, they aren't fast enough, or they're not explosive enough. And when I say fast enough, I mean they can't make their best play by the first turn or the second turn. Normally it takes them a little bit to set up, or their play is just not explosive enough to counter your opponent's play. Now, I'm going to go to the actual page that's involved in this video, and it's going to be Rogue. Now, why can't these decks deal with the tier 1 decks right now? Or tier 1.5, Mermail, Dragons, and Prophecy. I don't count Evil Swarm because they normally have a harder time against rogue matchups. I think that's actually a true case. These decks will never be truly able to beat those decks consistently because, again, they are not fast enough and they do not explode enough. I don't think anyone would argue that Inzectors, they can do a lot. Like, they can go decently fast. Like, they can go Dragonfly, equip Ladybug, get the Centipede, use the Ladybug, get the Gigamanus, and that's an okay play, but it's not very explosive. It results in you having 2 monsters and a card in hand. It's not explosive enough to do much in this format right now. Heroes, I mean, again, it's a deck that can do a lot of things. I mean, you get Stratos, you get Bubbleman, you set your hand, you go Bubbleman, you go Excalibur Knight or Blade Armor Ninja. Again, the deck has a pretty powerful play, but again, it's not fast enough or explosive enough to counter what Dragon Ruler, Mermail, or Prophecy do because they just do everything better. Dark World, this was one I was on the fence about putting in here because I've seen people make this deck just purely explode. This deck does have the plays, but it doesn't have the consistent plays to really be a tier 1 deck, and it doesn't have the plays where it's going to be very competitive to challenge a tier 1 deck. Other decks like Mermails, I mean not Mermails, Windups. This deck was the best deck last format. Now it's it doesn't even do much. I mean, while this deck it still has a very explosive play. I mean, Dragons makes this deck explosive play look pretty bad because 1, it's not consistent, 2, it is decently fast and it can be done on the first turn, but Dragons just say, okay, you do this first, I'm just going to do something way better. And it's just, it's not enough. Dino Rabbit, Macro Rabbit, whatever you want to call it, I don't think anyone will still disagree. Opening Rabbit Tour Guide is broken, but again, this deck is not... It has a very good opening play where it just goes Rabbit, set 3 or 4, have that Tour Guide next turn and go Tour Guide and get back that. But that play takes a little bit to set up, and this isn't a format where you can set up. You have to be able to just explode. Now, so that's why I don't think these decks will do it. Why won't Agents do it? Chaos Agents were a very good deck last format. Why aren't they good this format? Why are other decks running right over these? And I'll be honest, at the beginning of this when Dragons came out, I was thinking about playing Agents just because they could drop Hyperion quickly and they have Christia. But the deck is not powerful enough to just purely beat down the Dragons. They go Dracosac, they go Big Eye. Well, I can't do anything. I lose because I can't counter them. Now, back to mainstream decks. Evil Swarm is a mainstream deck, but again, it seems more like a weird deck to me that just counters the best decks. Now, what are the explosive plays? Why can't these decks? Why can't these rogue decks beat these non-rogue decks? These mainstream decks? Well, you go burner, you ditch title, you go rejuve, you draw, you do something else, you draw cards in the end phase. Oh, you drew into another one. Okay, use it again. It's just it can't keep up with the speed of this deck, this explosive plays of this deck. Why can't it keep up with Prophecy? Because with Judgment, you could legitimately potentially go, if you open with Judgment, you could go +5. I mean, I've seen players go +5 with this deck. It's ridiculous, but it has been done, and it's just ridiculous. The deck is unbelievably consistent, and it has a pretty, it doesn't have an explosive play, but it's just so consistent that it'll essentially be able to just use its High Priestess Prophecy and get rid of whatever form of defense or offense you put up. So it's just gonna annihilate you. And Mermail. The rogue decks, this is the one deck that I honestly think rogue decks can kind of pick at a little bit. Like Dino Rabbit, Macro Rabbit, they can abuse this because they can play macro and just shut this deck down. Inzectors, they can just pop everything they go into. Hopefully they don't make a Draco Sack on you, but I mean, heroes can super poly away your water monsters, make an ab 0. It's just the things. This is the one deck I was like negligible about putting on here, but it's still too fast. I mean, okay, I opened Megalo and Dragoons. Megalo, Dragoons, and Megalo, Dragoons, and Gund. No. Megalo, Megalo, Gund. Megalo, ditch Megalo and Gund. Gund, get back Megalo, Megalo, make Big Eye or Draco Sack. The deck has plays like that. I mean, you have Abystius, which can search, so you can discard a Dragoons, search your deck for, I believe, Megalo. So you use Abystius, you ditch Dragoons, you search for Megalo, you drop the Gund and another water monster in your hand. You have the 2 7s on field, potentially more for the Gund. Actually, you will have more. It's just good. It has explosive plays. So those are the reasons why the rogue decks can't keep up with them. They're either too slow or not explosive enough. That's my opinion. Remember to rate, comment, and tell me down below, do you think rogue decks can compete against these decks? I mean, I've kind of already stated my opinion with the deck that I play, which is Macro Rabbit, but just tell me, do you think rogue decks can compete in this meta, or do you think they could top a YCS or a regional? I think there have been 1 or 2 rogue decks that have topped a regional. You know what, I would even call Constellars rogue, actually, because, I mean, if you can't protect Pleiades, you're probably going to lose, just because of that. But, yeah, remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.